Hey everyone, welcome to the June Fragrance Awards. It is so hard to believe that we are officially halfway through the 2025 year. It's been an interesting year in the perfume world. Some amazing rapid releases. Have had a blast trying lots and lots of new fragrances, as well as dipping into my existing collection and showing love to the ones that have been holding down my shelves for a while. If you're new to the channel, this is my opportunity to share with you my opinions on the fragrances that I wore over the past month. Not all the fragrances make it in, but most do, and I put them into these made-up award categories for fun. If you like this video style and would like to binge, watch the entire playlist will be linked down in the description box below. So open that up and you'll see both links to all of the fragrances that I'm going to talk about today. If you're interested in shopping or trying samples and decants, you can shop through those links, and the channel appreciates you if you do. Thank you so much. And that playlist will be down there. So let's get into it. We'll start off with best for the season, and because June was one of those months where we started off with some cooler rainy days in the beginning and then immediately got this tremendous heat wave that was oppressive, like disgusting humid heat, I'm choosing a fragrance that is both appropriate for spring. It has some florals in it, and there are aspects of the fragrance that are squarely in summer territory. And so this is the new one from Andrea Maack, and it's called Muse. Love this bottle with the way that the font that is used for the name of the fragrance, I just find pretty. This fragrance is very nostalgic for me. It reminds me of something in like either the Bath and Body Works and or Victoria's Secret era of my life. I'm thinking like college years somewhere. Something like in the neighborhood of Pear Glacé from Victoria's Secret meets Sweet Pea. If you remember that fragrance, is it still made at Bath and Body Works and all the products that came along with that? Along with all the wonderful suntan lotion, beachy kinds of fragrances that we've been talking about in recent videos. All of that is kind of combined in here. Let me share some of the keynotes. Sweet pea, mango, gardenia, and coconut are prominent. There's some woodiness in the base and a note of cashmere, which I love, which gives the feeling like this almost like warm, cozy feeling of like a fuzzy, woody smell that also has a little bit of muskiness and warmth. That is the feeling that the note of cashmere, it's supposed to make you think you're smelling cashmere. So this is both floral and a little bit shampoo-y, and then it has those summertime tropical elements from the tropical fruits, the coconut, all of that here, and it's fun. My only complaint about this fragrance is the day that I wore it. I love the smell so much. I wanted it to last like forever, and it was maybe like a half a day wear or so. Mind you, it was fresh out of the maybe box. I'd had it for just a few days and had been trying it out, and so sprayed it on, wore it for the day, and that was my general experience. And so I will keep playing with this. Definitely thumbs up on this fragrance, and I love that it sort of toggles to spring summer world. Muse. In the category of best everyday fragrance, I actually had two, but I left one in the other room. So I'll just give a quick shout out to Q from Dolce & Gabbana, the original one. If you have tried the newest version, let me know. There's an intense version and I think a parfum version that was released this spring, maybe. If you've tried the parfum, the most recent release, I'm very curious to hear your thoughts. I think Q is beautiful. It's a sort of citrus, woody, musky fragrance that has a cherry note, and it's nice, very everyday, easygoing, nice, feminine, light, fun, flirty, easy fragrance, easy wear, but it also has a touch of elegance. So does the fragrance that I'm going to officially put in this category. And I guess this could also be a bit of a hidden gem as well. This is Brunello Cucinelli Perfumes. And so this one I've talked about in a recent video. I forget which one it was, but one of those sort of videos that featured refreshing or light and bright fragrances. Oh my gosh, it's kind of like a cousin to Q from Dolce Gabbana. This one is a very sort of smooth, well-rounded, well-mannered citrus musky fragrance with some woody undertones to it. And it just feels and smells like, I don't know about feels, it smells like butter on you. I don't know how it feels. It probably feels like nothing, just like all perfume does on your skin, but it smells very sort of like it's smooth as butter. It doesn't smell like butter, but smooth as butter. There's something so like finished about this. This is a beautifully done fragrance that smells like no complaints, other than perhaps it's softer to the skin. And so for the price tag, folks, may want a little bit more projection, perhaps a little bit more longevity. This was another sort of half day to maybe 6 hour kind of wear at the most. The beautiful part of it and me smelling it was about, I don't know, somewhere in the neighborhood of 3 to 4-ish hours. And then it was sort of very, very skin scenty beyond that. It was enjoyed in this house. I got compliments on this. and was told that I smell, pleasant and pretty. So it's like a very, very polite, feminine citrus fragrance. The musk and the woodiness here, I don't know, they're just very smooth and round and comforting even. Like in my mind, I have this category of clean, cozy, and I have something in the clean, cozy category for this video. I didn't put this in there, but it could be in that. It's one of those everyday, easygoing, easy reach, isn't going to fail you in terms of the scent profile being appropriate for any kind of occasion. Running errands as well as wanting to be sophisticated for an office meeting, for example, one of your power meetings. Do people still have power meetings? Are people still doing that? Are people still wearing like their best suit to their biggest negotiations? Let me know if you're in that kind of line of work. Line of work. Well-mannered, put together, finished is the word that I'm thinking of. Kind of like if you ever walk into a new home and you're looking for details in the home to indicate that it's well crafted, that it was nicely thought out, that high quality materials went into it. And when you see things like sophisticated moldings, just the perfect kind of color chosen for the walls, the highest grade of marble or granite in the kitchens, for example, nicely constructed cabinetry that has soft close hinges, lots of hidden sort of features and all of that. And you look around the home and you think someone really thought this out. This is a very well constructed, in my mind, well thought out fragrance with nothing lacking in terms of the profile and the components of it, the features of it. Definitely give this a sniff if you like a soft citrus feminine fragrance and you don't mind a little musk and woodiness in your fragrance as well. It's just so lovely and balanced. Then we move on to the special occasion fragrance. There's several I wore this month that could fall into this category, but because of the reaction that this gets when I wear it in this house, I've got to go with Xerjoff ACCENTO Overdose. So some people can't tolerate this because it's a very strong fragrance. It's got a lot of powerhouse floral appeal to it, and some people pick up an intense fruitiness. I find it to have some fruitiness, but for me, it's primarily a floral musk fragrance with this beautiful hint, like a dash of some kind of green, like an essence, almost like a spa oil in green form in the background. There's a bit of powderiness here that I haven't picked up in previous wears, but I picked up recently. The primary notes are white florals, a little sprinkle of a fruity aspect, and a fairly pronounced, lovely, almost powdery musk. And like I said, like this little dash of a green hit. This has a lot of sophistication, also quite sexy depending on how you wear it. I always joke around if I, renew my vows. I was going to say if I get married again, but I don't plan to get married again. I'm staying with the one I got. Love that man. But if we renewed our vows, this would be probably the one that I would choose. It's very appealing to him. He loves it. He immediately notices it when I put it on, compliments me on it, chases me around, sniffs me down, thinks this is beautiful. And I love the bottle in terms of like wedding photos and all of that. I think it would be beautiful, quite magnificent, very long lasting, very strong, definitely has a lot of feminine floral presence in a room, floral musky primarily, as I said, with a little hint of some kind of assorted fruit and that kind of greenish oil. And by oil, I'm talking about like some kind of essential oil. It's a really sort of sophisticated hit of green, very minor. I didn't pick that up when I first wore it the first few times, but more recently I am getting that. Oh my gosh, beautiful. One of my favorite Xerjoff fragrances. Speaking of sexy fragrances, in the category of sexiest is FLOWERBOMB TIGERLILY, which I am making my way through here. Probably should have purchased the bigger bottle. This was one that I got last year. Oh my, so pretty. This is mango, a perfumey mango. So it's not like a fresh cut, ripened, mango that you would get in a fruit salad or something like that, or straight in the tropics if you've ever picked a ripe mango off of a tree and, opened it and it's juicy and delicious. And I'm getting sidetracked because I'm thinking about the amazingness of a fresh ripe mango. Not that. This is like a perfume interpretation of mango. There's coconut in the fragrance as well. There's jasmine. There's tiger lily, but honestly, in my mind, I don't get anything that makes me think about like a tiger lily. It's jasmine and it's mango. And it says there are base notes of mango and benzoin. But pronounced to me is, like I said, a perfume interpretation of mango, florals, and a thin coconut milk type of note. and it's very pretty, very sort of appealing, alluring. It's got some like nighttime exotic flair. For me, this is a lovely date night fragrance or dinner date or going out to see the family at dinner, and you want it to have a little bit of extra feminine exotic edge. This might be a good choice for you. The day that I wore it, of course, I was just working from home. Husband came into the office and immediately was like all over sniffing. What do you have on? I really like that. That is good. And he kept coming back. Like during his breaks, he kept coming back to sniff my neck and go, man, you smell really, really great. So that's Flowerbomb Tiger Lily. Had decent longevity, apparently. Like he smelled me all through the day. And apparently some decent sillage that filled the room, projection and sillage. So for the biggest surprise in the month of June, I pulled out Musk Noir Rose from Narciso Rodriguez. And I think what surprised me is that I always knew that I liked it. I always knew that it was sexy and pretty, but it just hit me different on that day. And I had this like blast from the past where, and that's another category for this month. So I'm going to have a fragrance in that category. This, when I wore it in June, reminded me of my youth and the sort of matriarchs in my family and the kinds of fragrances that they wore. I don't know if this fragrance has patchouli that's not listed, but I swear I smell something like an 80s or early 90s version of a patchouli note. Regardless, the fragrance is primarily musk and vanilla, and there's a beautiful plum note that I just smelled in a completely different way. So that was kind of the surprise part, along with like this hit of the past that came to me that hasn't when I've worn this before. Like, I always thought it was pretty, lovely, sexy, as I mentioned, but there was something then deeper and more meaningful about wearing the fragrance than had happened in the past. And I really appreciated that about this. And I ended up dousing myself in this and just kind of having this moment where I'm like, I'm the auntie now. Like, I am the matriarch, I'm 50 years old. I guess it's my time to be that woman. Beautiful. Deep fragrance, deeper. It's deeper than I remember. When I first purchased this, I felt like it was sort of soft and fleeting. And I don't think that about this anymore. And I don't know if it's because it's matured in my collection or my sense of smell has changed or my appreciation for this, or I don't know, who knows what goes into that perception thing. Another sort of sexy, very appealing fragrance. I mean, like this has a little bit of an exotic edge to it too. The plum note for me comes across as like this deep, almost dark, fruity aspect. People talk about like dark academia scents for fun. What an interesting thing to like match that category with scents, but the plum in here kind of gives me that kind of vibe. I love that it's still feminine from a rose and the powdery aspects of this, as well as vanilla. The musk is very gentle. All around musky, deep, dark, fruity, rosy, a little bit powdery, super nostalgic. And I swear there's some patchouli in the base here that isn't listed. So what a gem of a fragrance. What a gem of a fragrance. And I love that you can sort of douse yourself in it and not offend anyone. At least that was my experience with it. My favorite blind buy of June, I think I purchased this in June, is Brown Girl Jane's High Tea. Why is this not getting better reviews? People are just not enjoying this, or some are and many aren't. And I don't sometimes understand like what's happening in Fragcom and why so many people just hate on something, because I think that this is really, really so good. This is right up my alley these days though. There's something cozy and fresh about it at the same time. It's supposed to smell like some sort of meshing of French patisserie, and I forget what else. Oh, chai rituals, high tea, right? So think chai tea. So yes, you get a little bit of that sort of like a hint of chai spice. There is this fresh, like orange ice cream or orange, maybe even lemon kind of gelato sort of deal happening. There's something warm and cozy, like air wafting out of like a bakery or someplace that makes some kind of dessert. It's almost like a semi-gourmand. I do smell some florals in here as well, but there's a sweetness, a brightness. I appreciate the sort of citrusy aspects of this that are also at the same time like tempered by this milkiness, citrusy milkiness, light chai spices, and just something super warm and cozy and very, very inviting. I enjoyed wearing this fragrance. I felt happy and youthful and cozy, like and you can wear this all year round, but it can be like a summer sweater weather kind of fragrance, right? Summer sweater weather cozy. It doesn't have to be summer. It's just that it came out recently, and so I'm now associating it with this time of year. This is certainly one that can be worn year round. I really enjoyed this. Get your nose on this if you like that kind of description, something that's almost gourmand, but not quite. Almost gourmand, but not quite. So I don't understand the hate that this fragrance is getting. With that, I'm going to declare this a big win as the blind buy of the month. thumbs up, and let's go on to the next category. Moving over to not a safe blind buy, and I think this was in maybe one of the spring months awards videos. This is from Botanicae and it's called MERAKI. And this is one that I think is actually sold out on So Avant-Garde at the moment, so I'll have to find some other place to link for you if I can. Wow. This is reminding me a little bit of a fragrance that I absolutely adore, and that's called BELLE from Tiziana Terenzi. If you've heard me rave about that, it's made like my top 10 a few years in a row now. It's got this very gentle greenness to it. And so think about like crushing down the little bit of smell that you get from aloe, because aloe doesn't have a very strong smell. But if you crush that down to some sort of concentrated form, you add some tropical notes on there, like something in the mango and guava direction, perhaps some citrus and some woody muskiness. And that's what you have. I find it fairly fascinating. You have to be in the mood for this kind of fragrance because it's definitely in the greener direction than your typical mass of perfumes that have been marketed toward women lately, but it's unique. And that's what I appreciate about this fragrance. Let me see if I can get some of the notes for you. Okay, interesting. I don't know that I took a look at this description before, but it's supposed to remind us of an eternal summer in Santorini, Greece, and a harmonious symphony of figs and strawberries enhanced by green and woody notes. So there's strawberry, fig, black currant, violet, iris, and cedar. I would have never thought to pick up like violet and iris, sandalwood, patchouli, and vanilla in the base. Interesting, because to me, this smells like some tropical fruits. I definitely get that sort of like crushed mango juiciness. Like I said, something in like the guava, maybe even passion fruit direction, greenness, and some woody aspects, and perhaps a little bit of muskiness. And I think it's great. It's interesting. It's a little odd. And so one to try out first if you don't like profiles that go off the beaten path, because this one certainly does. I don't have anything in the overhyped category for this month. Everything that I tried was either not hyped or I think appropriately hyped. I do want to move on to the hidden gem category. And I actually want to shout out a small business that kindly sent me a few items to try out with no obligation to talk about them. That's my favorite kind of collaboration. Let me send you something, Veronica, to try out and see what you think. No request or requirement to talk about their items. And so they sent over, let me just pause and say, the value of a business that treats people well. They sent out a package to the UPS store where I have a PO box. And then they sent me a message saying, hey, what do you think of the products that you received? And I'm like, I haven't received anything. I'm not sure what you mean. So we went on this wild goose chase where I go down to the UPS store to see if they've received this package. They hadn't received it. I filed a claim with USPS about it not arriving to the UPS store. Y'all, we went around and around and around, but the company was so nice and they said, not to worry, let us know your home address. We'll send something there right away. They didn't have to do that because they had already sent the one package. So I appreciate that little bit of extra effort and kindness. They sent me 3 different fragrances and I think also a candle to try out. The one fragrance that stood out to me the most, I actually only have a sample of from them. It's called Rise and Shine. And I really think that this is great. Oh my gosh, for mornings and here upcoming in the fall. It reminds me very much of Café Cabanel from Théo Cabanel, as well as another fragrance. It might be coconut chai, a little fragrance that I had gotten from an independent perfumer on Etsy. It has those sort of fall kitchen spice aspects like cinnamon, combined with a little cardamom, combined with a little nutmeg, sitting on a bed of maybe soft vanilla and frothy milk notes and things like that. It feels like a cozy morning with your best cup of coffee, your best cup of frothed coffee. I don't do frothed coffee. I drink my coffee black. How about you? But my husband does the whole bit, like he makes lattes every morning, frosts his coffee and everything. If you sprinkle that with a little bit of cinnamon and you've got like maybe a muffin that has some cardamom and other kinds of spices in it, I don't know, I'm making this up. Something like that is what this fragrance smells like, Rise and Shine. So, and it's soft and it's tender. There's a tenderness to this perfume. And so I'm interested in ordering a bottle of this. So that is the hidden gem. The hidden gem is both the company, they're called Dyad Candle Company. And I think they started off as a candle company, but that little fragrance is a gem. In the category of best bottle, and also one of my favorite fragrances of the month, another sort of surprise. This is, I wouldn't call it a hidden gem, but I would call it a surprise in that if people haven't tried this and they give it a try, they might be surprised at how beautiful it is because maybe they haven't heard of it. It hasn't gotten enough hype. People passed it by. This is from the La Belle line. This one is called La Belle Paradise Garden. It was released as La Terrible Fleur Terrible, excuse me, a year ago or 2 years ago, and then it was pulled back. I'm making this up. I'm not sure if it was pulled back, but it disappeared or something and came back on the market as Paradise Garden. And so I love this bottle. It smells like the bottle looks with this sort of floral approach here. The primary notes listed for this or publicized for it are iris, blue lotus flower, and vanilla. Yes, I had to double check to make sure about those three notes. My experience has been with the Labelle line and the Jean Paul Gaultier line in general is they don't always release all of the notes, just the ones that they want you to really pick up. But this is definitely softly floral, almost like a watery floral, has a bit of an aquatic nature to it. It's feminine and it's soft. And it reminds me a little bit of how I imagine some of the characters in Avatar, the movie, the original movie, to smell, not the Waterworld movie, which is a different one. Imagine the original movie, you know, when they go to that sort of like tree of life and energy and whatever they call that big tree, and everything is undulating with energy and lights and all of that. Imagine what the florals there smell like with some aquatic tones, nothing green. I would imagine there's some greenness in that scene in the movie as well, but definitely, I don't know, sort of soft and feminine, watery florals. Very pretty fragrance, unique, and perhaps a little bit salty too. Like, I haven't heard anybody describe that, but maybe easy to douse yourself in, and one that my husband really enjoyed on me as well, and he thought it smelled very, very pretty. In the category of worst bottle, this one has been named worst bottle in other fragrance awards at least once before, maybe twice. It's Steamed Rainbow from DS and Durga. You'll see this in an upcoming video about like unsung heroes of the summer months. This is beautiful though, friends. If you like the smell of freshness, it's such a fresh waterfall smell is what I call it. I mean, it's called Steam Rainbow, but I describe this as the smell that you get when you're walking up to a waterfall and you've got this very fine, like water mist vapor coming off of the waterfall approaching you as you approach it. There's some green smell from the vegetation in a park as you're approaching that waterfall. It's steamy and humid outside, and there is that refreshing smell in the air. That is captured here in this bottle. I think it also has some white florals or some sort of soft florals in it as well, but primarily just smells like a fresh waterfall, and I love it for that and hate that it is in this bottle. I'd rather it have, gosh, even something that had like this color, the blue from the Labelle bottle, or this upcoming bottle that we're going to talk about, like some kind of tone like that, something. But I just feel like the bottle does this a disservice because the fragrance is lovely, doesn't last long at all, unfortunately. That's a gripe with it, especially for the price point. But what a fantastic, photorealistic, refreshing summer smell. Lovely. Then a fragrance that I am not entirely sure how to describe. I'm going to have to look up the notes. It is new to me and it is in my clean and cozy category. I sampled this and immediately went online to purchase a bottle as it dried down, and I got to figure out what this fragrance is about. It's called Gate 17 from Morph. What's funny is my husband actually likes this bottle. He thought the bottles were great. I dislike the bottles from this brand, but I'm loving so many of the fragrances. So this is in the, oh my gosh, this is in the clean, cozy category. I'm going to tell you what this reminds me of. This is one that makes me need a moment to myself to just sort of meditate on the soft, gentle nature of this. My husband thought it was very, very soft, like too soft to smell. I disagree. I think you can smell it. However, it is very close to the skin. This is not going to be a projection beast, not going to be that fragrance you reach for when you want to get noticed. This is the fragrance you reach for when you want to smell feminine, a bit demure, you know, maybe have something under your sweater or your shirt or whatever that is only, you know, for you and those that are very close to you. So this reminds me somewhat of Marshmallow Musk from Earfe that everybody has gone crazy over, that is in the toddler bottle with the little arm sticking up. This reminds me slightly of Printemps Blanc, another one from this spring that is one of my faves of the year. It's giving me some aspects of Rose Arabia White from Whittian that I also love. And so for people that haven't smelled any of those three fragrances, this smells cloud-like, almost marshmallowy, soft, delicately sweet, almost like it's floating in a cloud of soft deliciousness. There's iris in the background. So that's one of the players here. Soft, powdery, pillowy, feminine goodness. Now, let me share some of the notes with you. So this has beeswax, Could I tell you that there's beeswax in this if I didn't know? No, I would tell you there's some sort of sweetness. Iris, yes, in the background. Supposedly a marine accord. I don't pick up much marine. Musk and vanilla. In fact, I pick up more of a sort of soft, pillowy musk vanilla combo than anything else. And I love this. This is going to end up in a video that I'm going to title something like, smell like a princess or something. Smell like a quiet princess, a pretty quiet, demure princess. There's something about this that I find rather intoxicating. I like that it's close to the skin and not super projecting. It's almost like my own little secret smell good item. And it's one of those that is both like meditative, has you contemplating how to be your most feminine, pretty, demure self, all by yourself in a corner, you in this fragrance, just sniffing on it and enjoying the pillowy nature of this. I really, really enjoy this quite a lot. This one is fairly long lasting, even though it's sort of a softer scent bubble around you, and it's just super duper pretty. Definitely give this a try if you like the sound of a pillowy, semi-sweet, irisy fragrance. Like it's almost pillowy and creamy at the same time. Pillowy, creamy, powdery, dreamy, a very dreamy fragrance in my mind. So then the It Girl of the season for me, from everything that I wore this month, and It Girl is typically something that's new and a hot item. I'm going to go with Maui in a bottle, Sweet Banana 37 from Kayali. These names are wild, as we know. The bottle is so fun and so pretty. I have a minor obsession with this fragrance at the moment. When it first arrived at home, I wore it a full day, and then I wore it a number of nights, sort of sprayed on my robe as I hung around the house. The notes are here: sweet banana, pear, coconut cream, jasmine, sandalwood, and vanilla. I've talked about this in a recent video, so my beach fragrances video. I won't go on and on except to say there's just beautiful, sweet, mashed up, like almost desserty banana in the beginning of the fragrance. And then that sort of takes a little bit of a backseat. You can still smell it, but then the primary players are jasmine and vanilla, and they do so well together in this fragrance. They dance beautifully. I get summer beautiful vibes from this. Coconut cream, yeah, something coconutty in the fragrance. So it's both creamy and deeply floral, and all of that is sort of bolstered by vanilla, and you get that mashed banana thing going throughout, but it's stronger in the beginning, and it's just so fun. It's a great fun summer fragrance, maybe a little bit mature because of the floral aspects for some, but I love this. I'm introducing a category just for this month because I happen to actually leave my house. Imagine, yay! Let's have a little moment of applause for Veronica leaving her house and hung out with some friends here and there. And I wore this fragrance, and from the minute that I wore it in this house, got compliments in this house. When I went out, I got compliments from everybody that hugged me, and people that walked past me stopped me to ask me about this fragrance. And I was surprised about that, but this is Andromeda from Tiziana Terenzi. And so this is the most complimented fragrance of the month, and maybe one of the hardest to describe for me. There is a cacophony of notes in here playing along together. So this is very sort of classic Tiziana Terenzi smelling, but it's got this kind of airiness to it that makes it so difficult to describe. Some of the primary notes here are florals, pear blossom, jasmine, lily. There are woody tones to this fragrance. There is a peach and a lang thing playing together at the top. Tonka bean, vanilla, amber, coconut, so much going on. I would describe this, even though there aren't musks in the note structure, I feel like this has kind of the classic Tiziana Terenzi musks. Definitely a soft but pronounced woodiness. And then this floral balance with some fruity aspects that make this just intoxicating. So when I asked the ladies that I had gone out to dinner with, these are friends that I've known for a long time, and they're very honest with me. I said, what does this smell like? They used words like, it's very sophisticated, it's very sexy, you smell like a rich woman with that on. Things like that. Like they found this to be this sort of elevated fragrance experience that I hadn't associated with this. And so I appreciated that and enjoy this fragrance even more, knowing that other people around me enjoy it too. I love this fragrance anyway, but it's like now even more top tier. My husband was just enamored with this fragrance. He was when I wore it in the past, but for some reason, this particular day I had this on, maybe because I sprayed pretty heavily, I'm not sure. He was just like head over heels and continued to comment on how wonderful I smell. Wonderful. So Andromeda. So in the category of blast from the past, which actually one of you suggested as a category a few months back, I don't even know what version this is. I purchased this off of JOMASHOP recently because I was curious to re-smell it. So this is Lolita Lempicka Le Parfum. So for those of you that are experts in these bottles, Tell me what I got going on here. I don't even know. I remember a darker purple version, and then I remember a number of other sort of similar releases. And, people that are Lolita Lempica fans are knowledgeable about the slight differences between the different releases. This is maybe one of the most interesting and challenging scents at the same time. So people love this back in the day. Like they wore the heck out of it. You could smell it everywhere. It's mostly to me like a violet and licorice combination, and it's always the licorice and anise too. Combination of that you have to be in the mood to wear. I'm not the biggest fan of licorice, but it's pronounced in here. And it's one of those things that those fragrance profiles that you either loved or hated back in the day. There's almost like this angel-esque quality to it from a praline note that maybe feels a little bit chocolatey in some moments, but that's subtle and in the background. Powdery, licorice, anise, vanilla, even a little bit of cherry in the fragrance. So it's kind of like candied yet cold and aloof all at the same time, a little bit sort of midnight-ish, coquettish, playful, hard to get, all in a fragrance. I don't know how this fragrance does that. For those of you that are Lolita Lempica fans, how would you describe this Le Parfum version? Whatever year this is, I'm sure they all have, subtle differences between them. But generally speaking, what are your thoughts? How would you describe it? And did you enjoy this fragrance? And I think it's one of the most novel bottles. In fact, maybe this could have been best bottle over the La Belle Paradise Garden one because it's so interesting. The one thing I don't love about it is that it sprays out of the little stem at the top and it just feels fragile, as you spray it. I feel like I'm going to break the stem. So anyway, Lolita Lempica, back in the mix, you guys. I never owned this fragrance. I knew people that owned it and loved it. Like people swore by this. You were either like a Lolita Lempica girl or you were not. Were you? So let me know your thoughts on that. I do have a low for the month, and I'm kind of sad about this. This was a blind buy. I think I had actually ordered a sample of it and tried it, a few months ago and then just forgot what it smelled like. Got interested in the house and ended up ordering. Let me back up. I wanted to check out La Fille de l'Air. Do you remember me talking about this? In the pink bottle. It's Courage. So I ordered another travel spray of La Fille de l'Air before I ordered the bottle and realized, no, this isn't a fragrance that I want. It was a little bit too heavy on, I think it was orange blossom. And I swear like I smelled some kind of neroli, something a little bit too sharp in the composition for me. So I left that alone. But I did end up blind buying Slogan. Is that how we pronounce this? Slogan? Slogan. Anyway. Yeah, no, yes and no. So I love the way that this smells. The opening of this fragrance is exactly up my alley right now. It's got that sort of clean girl thing happening. There's a sort of tender, maybe powderiness to it. This clean girl, slightly sweet aspect, like just enough sweetness to make it feminine, but it smells very clean, very powdery. The primary notes, juniper berries, white musk, and ambroxan in the base. And so the challenge for me was that I love the opening of this. It was perfect for days that you want to smell clean and fresh and slightly pretty, but nothing overdone. That sort of just fresh out of the shower, white t-shirt and jeans vibe. But then as it settles down and progresses, it just gets a little stale and dusty on me. And so with all of the fragrances that I have in this category that I enjoy and that stay pretty the entire day, this one didn't work out for me. If this is one that works out for you and you want a bargain on this fragrance, head on over to my Mercari. It's linked in the description box and it will be posted there. So then in the medium category, I had mentioned that I was trying out on my community page. I posted that I was trying out Optimal Habitat from Future Society alongside Kayali's Utopia Vanilla Cocoa 21 because I really love this Kayali fragrance. This profile is beautiful, but it doesn't have like the greatest longevity or projection. So I thought the two together might be fun. I have to say that this Optimal Habitat, which is designed to be put on your skin to create the right sort of skin chemistry for a fragrance to last longer, I don't feel like it helped out at all. I'm going to continue trying this out because I bought this with my own money and I want to see if I can get some worth out of it. If nothing else, it's a great milky moisturizer. I mean, feels nice on the skin. Utopia Vanilla Cocoa is one of my favorite summer scents, with the exception of the longevity. It is such a creamy, dreamy combination of white florals and coconut and vanilla together in a way that is just intoxicating to me. If this could last and project and stay deep as when you first spray it. When you first spray it, the first, I don't know, 5 minutes of it, you're just like in heaven. And then it just settles down and continues to settle down and eventually becomes a skin scent about half day. which is not a problem. I still have it and still enjoy the fragrance, but gosh, I wish that this was deeper and lasted longer and stayed like the opening, like for forever. So pretty, so pretty. One of the most beautiful profiles of all. So I feel like Optimal Habitat let me down in terms of helping the Kayali last longer, but I'll keep trying this out and keep y'all posted. Love the scent profile of the Kayali. And for a similar reason, this was sent to me in PR from So Avant-Garde. In the middle category, I have Mornings in Milano from Burkholtz. This is so pretty. This smells like elegant suntan lotion plus like coconut and vanilla. I'm going to look up the notes to make sure that I'm right about that, but it's a very, very pretty smell. It's subtle. That's why it's in the middle category. I don't have a problem with subtle smells, but I really had to sort of bury myself in my arm to check this out. Very, very pretty fragrance. Would highly advise if you like a more subtle, demure scent, or if you are around people that are sensitive to fragrances and are always commenting on how you wear too much fragrance or whatever, and you want to smell summertime pretty. This Mornings in Milano is so pretty. I think this has some yellow florals in it too. Let me check it out for you. Oh gosh, it is currently sold out on So Avant-Garde. I guess it was popular. Top notes are coconut, white peach, vanilla berries, lychee. And then in the heart, jasmine, gardenia, plumeria, ylang-ylang. So there's the yellow and white florals, vanilla, musk, and woody notes in the base. Primarily for me, it is sunblock, which tends to be a combination of white and yellow florals, like that sort of terracotta kind of vibe, but maybe not the maturity of the terracotta Guerlain fragrance with vanilla as a base. And it's quite nice. It's lovely. Hopefully this comes back in stock soon. By the way, yay! We got a 30% off sale coming up at the end of July, the last weekend in July with So Avant-Garde. So stay tuned for that. I will be posting a video with some of my faves. Maybe this will be back in stock by then. Speaking of summer beauties, in the top category for the month, I have two to share, and then we'll get out of here because I know this video is long. This is from Fragrance du Bois Oud Jaune Intense, which I have grown fonder and fonder of the more that I wear it and the more that it matures. This is such a pretty, I mean, I'm talking about pretty, pretty mature combination of yellow and white florals and this delicious little pineapple note. I also pick up bubblegum in the fragrance. Anyone else like a beautiful, light, fresh, fun, sweet pink bubblegum that I haven't gotten in prior years? The base notes here, lactonic, vanilla, musk, 100% organic vintage oud. I don't really pick up oud, but I do pick up this creamy like sweetness and definitely vanilla. So yellow and white florals, a little bit of pineapple, a nice touch of sweet bubblegum, something or other pinkness to this, and then a milky vanilla, maybe musky base. Absolutely beautiful, like grown up, beautiful resort style fragrance. Enjoyed this quite a lot when I wore it. And then maybe one of my favorites for the summer, I definitely had to pull this back out and douse myself in it, and I did. It's Simone Andreoli Leisure in Paradise. Here you have coconut, papaya, pineapple, vanilla. And I love that the like coconut and vanilla give this substantial feminine base. I even feel like this has some powderiness for those beautiful tropical fruity notes to shine. And this is a creamy tropical dream to me. I always joke around about like the skies opening up when I wear this and the sun shining down just on me. It just smells so good. I could bathe myself in this fragrance. There is something really sweet and intoxicating about this. And I love the like creamy powderiness at the same time, coconut vanilla nature of the base of this with that beautiful, delightful, bright, juicy fruitiness on top. Unmistakable summer scent and magnificent. Love ASMR time. Love this fragrance. Leisure in Paradise. This one lasted on me maybe half a day-ish or so. And reapply, easy peasy. Love. Friends, that is it for the end of the June awards. If you're still here after this long video, put some kind of tropical fruit symbol below. A mango, a pineapple, a coconut, some. And I hope y'all are having a great one. Let us know what your favorite June fragrance was down in the comments. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.